Good evening, everyone. Thank you for spending your weeknight with us. I'm Farahin and I'm from the organizing team of Insights. I have along with me my teammates Muhammad and Amira. We are from Common Space Singapore, a community space for local business owners. Our space consists of a conducive workspace where you can get productive, an event space where you can hold team meetings, mini seminars, or workshops, as well as a studio for production and podcast recording. Now, Insights for Businesses is a common space pillar program, and our main aim is to focus and help grow local small businesses. This is the last round of the program, and we hope that this sharing session with sorry guys. Okay, I'll just do that paragraph again. Now, Insights for Businesses is a common space pillar program, and our main aim is to focus and help grow local small businesses. This is the last round of the program, and we hope with this sharing session, we are able to help you do better and be better. For tonight, we'll be having a sharing circle where we discuss mental health within small local businesses. Before we begin the session, let me introduce you to our speakers. From the Wedding Brocade, we have Kat and Yati. Born out of the threads of passion and fine taste in 2011, the Wedding Brocade, or TWB, weave together these elements to form a tapestry of style, glamour, and elegance in the events and wedding industry. We have with us also With Love Shira, where we have Shahira Suhaimi. Used to be known as Shira's Closet, the team at WLS have rebranded to With Love Shira. With the change of lifestyle of their founder, we aim to bring in affordable and modest apparel for their Muslim sisters and plus-size beauties. Last but not least, we have Kawabanga Global with Letitia Menon. For over 13 years, Kawabanga Global has developed companies with sustainability and social missions. Its aim is to nurture aspiring change makers to create a better world, a better future. Focusing on educating the young and working closely with organizations and government agencies to develop programs for children and youth to equip them with the skill sets for jobs that have yet to exist, and believe that only by working hand in hand can we bring about positive change to the world. Okay, I will now pass you over to my colleague Amira.
Everyone, welcome to the last round of Insights, where we talk a little bit about mental health within small local businesses. So, as shared over across our social media, we've talked about the big giants actually helping their staff being more mentally healthy. So, but for now, we want to talk with the smaller local businesses here in Singapore. Maybe we can start off with a little bit of a background on all three, Kawabanga, with Shira, as well as the Wedding Brocade. Like, how was mental health like in the company before COVID actually struck us? Maybe we can get Letitia to start off first.
All right. Hi, everybody. Okay, so how was mental health before COVID-19? Was that the question?
Yeah, was it like something that was not big or talked about in the company, or was it something that was very much chucked at the back of the drawer, so to speak?
I think before COVID-19, I mean, mental health has always been there, even for us, but I think it was less spoken about before COVID-19. I think staff were not so, so open about it, or, it was not so apparent as compared to current times, where it's definitely a lot more. It's good because it's less of a taboo now, and people are more comfortable to speak about it, and they're more comfortable to share. So I would say it's always been there. We've been quite proactive about it, but I think in general, people just spoke less about it. So even if they had an issue, they may not have necessarily just openly said something about it as compared to now.
Right. Okay. What about Shira?
I think just like Letitia, we do have mental health in our priority. Just that it's not talked about, because before COVID, I was working alone. I didn't have any employees with me, so it's like it got tense after the COVID-19 situation. Yeah.
How about Kat or Yati? Maybe guys, one of you can speak on behalf of the Wedding Brocade.
Maybe I start first. Yeah. Okay, so for Wedding Brocade, similarly, we of course before COVID, we all have, like what Letitia said, we don't really talk about it, but our mental health as a team, we are really good, actually. We actually do a lot of talk with each other. And I do check on the staff regularly. I would speak to them individually as well. So with them opening up to me, I would say they won't, right? Mental health before COVID, but during COVID and all that, I think I was more actively engaged with how they are doing, because yeah, it was a very stressful time. But so far, it wasn't really, I wouldn't say it was chopped at the back, but I think people are not very open to talk about their mental health
Got it.
in general. Yeah.
That's true, though, because it's something that is quite personal, something that is very emotional as well, because it's not something that many people are even ready to tackle on.
Correct.
Maybe for like the future people who are going to watch the videos, the viewers, maybe you guys can share a little bit on the size of your company. Actually, we didn't speak about the size of the company. For Wedding Bouquet, how many people do you have in the team?
There are 8 of us in the company. Yeah.
8 of you, huh? What about Kawabanga?
For Kawabanga, we have about 140 staff or colleagues ranging from various backgrounds, and they all have different parts to play in the organization.
Right. And lastly, with Shira, how many staff do you have?
We have about 4 now, 2 of them part-timers.
Okay. So I'm sure like everybody, the pandemic has really struck all of us pretty deeply. So everyone has shared basically, like in a nutshell, that all your staff are not as forthcoming into sharing about mental health before COVID-19. So maybe one of the silver lining we could say is that COVID-19 did encourage not just individuals but also companies to prioritize mental health as a whole, because the state of the company basically is up to the staff. If your staff can produce quality work, your company as a whole will produce more quality work. How did you actually tackle the circuit breaker then? Because circuit breaker was pretty tough. It was something that I think everybody had to go through. It's something new, especially because technically nobody can go out. Literally nobody can go out. It's not even martial law. It was just like, no, you cannot even go out for necessities. You had to how do I say it? Sort of like draw lots, even with my family, had to draw lots to see who goes for grocery shopping. So how did you guys actually manage through the circuit breaker? Because circuit breaker was something new to a lot of companies. Cheryl, want to start first?
Okay, so for circuit breaker, it was a shock to me actually. I even went to my office like during circuit breaker itself, because I didn't realize that it's already circuit breaker. So when the Grab driver came, right, then he was like, he was delivering the food item, then he was asking me, you're still working? Then I'm like, yeah, it's just like a normal working day, right? So he told me, it's already circuit breaker. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, but it was a chaos. It was a chaos because no one was prepared for it. I think on the day that circuit breaker was implemented, just like maybe 2-3 days before, we just had our IG live. And IG live, it's like a peak period, very busy. You have to do all the admin work, packing and all that. Packing takes a lot of time, and you definitely have to go to the office. So it was just like a chaos as a whole. I still remember bringing back my printers and all back home. Yeah.
Okay, what about Letitia then? Because yours, amongst the 3 of the companies here present today, yours is the biggest. How was circuit breaker for your company?
Oh my goodness, it was chaotic, I would say, would be a good word to describe it. I think, like Shira, it took us all by shock because so the core of our business is actually in student care. So we're actually based in schools, right? And during circuit breaker, the MOE changed the regulation whereby only children of parents who are in essential workforces or in essential services were able to come in. So that meant that the number of staff entering the student care centers had to be reduced as well. So we had to really think hard. As teachers, your role is mainly in the school, right? As in you're with the children. So if you're at home, what are you going to be doing? And how do we still ensure that, our staff and our colleagues have, their work and their time managed effectively? So it took a lot of planning, a lot of meetings. We had to be very creative and innovative in our ideas. And that was when we actually decided that we were going to pivot and expand into different areas. So circuit breaker was a good time for us to get everybody, those who were not in the centers, to get everybody's input to sort of help us reach that goal. So with that, thankfully, we're going to be opening up our first preschool in January. And I think circuit breaker actually helped in that sense, so that we can actually make it happen. So the initial part was, I can't deny it was hard. It was really draining mentally, emotionally, physically, not just for the ones who are planning, but even for our staff, because it was such a big change, right, for everybody. So, major full stop to all our lives. So suddenly kids were at home 24/7. Your spouses were at home 24/7, and then you are at home 24/7. So it was, we had to really tackle it quite carefully, because we had to be very aware of their family backgrounds also. We have staff who are foreign staff as well. So that impacted them quite a lot, quite a bit. So yeah, a lot of planning, but thankfully it worked out. And through, I would literally say, blood, sweat, and tears. Lots of tears.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations on the opening of the preschool. When will
Thank you.
When will it be open?
It'll
Tentatively?
be open in January, actually. So open house is next week. And then it'll be open in January at Jalan Korea. So yeah, we're really excited. We just finished like the heavy lifting of the center, so now it's for the teachers to put in their magic and to decorate and do whatever they wish. But yeah, sorry.
Great job though, in the midst of a pandemic. It surely shows that the COVID basically sort of, I mean, I wouldn't say COVID has its pros. It doesn't have any pros, but it definitely, got a lot of the companies to think creatively. And then you really sort of had to try a lot of new things, out of your own comfort zone, not just yours individually, but the companies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great job on
definitely.
that.
Yeah, it was a lot of trials and errors.
It was exciting, right? Oh no, my Wi-Fi. Oh no.
Is someone frozen?
Was I frozen? I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Am I better now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so maybe we can move on to the wedding bouquet team. What about you guys? How was your staff reaction, especially to circuit breaker?
Yati, shall we both talk about this together?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but it was actually 2 weeks before circuit breaker. So because we were a cluster, we had to scramble and make sure that fittings were carried out, because weddings were still going on. But they were cutting down furiously. They were cutting down from, I think, 1,000 to 500, 500 to 250, and then it was 50. So everyone was scrambling. What happened? Okay, so I was infected with COVID, and 2 of my other staff was infected with COVID. Jang, jang, jang. And then because of that, the whole team was down. We were closed for 2 weeks, right, Yati?
Yeah, we were closed. Everyone was quarantined except for me and Akida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Yati was on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team was on quarantine, except for we have one part-timer who wasn't in the office at that point of time. So she actually had to handle the customers who are getting
Meetings.
married that particular weekend. So 2 weeks before circuit breaker, we had to, I mean, it was a blessing in disguise. So we didn't have to scramble that much because we already had to do that 2 weeks prior. So we cleared everything 2 weeks prior. So some of the weddings, some of the wedding for the clients still went on smoothly. We had help from other bridals to help us with that. And then after that, it was circuit breaker, and that's it. Everything was done online. Most of our customers, I think everyone was all in shock. So what we did was we mass email everyone that, okay, we will get in touch with you once we get some solid, information from the government moving forward. And to tell you the truth, I think the customers, the clients at these wedding couples, they were all, I think, all in shock. So nobody actually replied to our emails. Remember, Yati?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
everyone's like trying to
Digest
figure out
and
and digest. Yes, correct. Yeah, digest the info. So it was only, I think towards June, then we started getting more emails asking about, okay, what are their plans and all that. Yeah, so to be honest, I would say as compared to other people, I think ours was quite chill because the wedding industry, in the wedding industry, we are 24/7, we are going on and on every week. So to be honest, the circuit breaker actually gave us a break. I had to say that. Yes.
Yeah, because it's forever ongoing. That's the thing with the
Yeah.
wedding and events industry. But the fact that nobody replied you for what? Then okay, circuit breaker was in March. If you only receive emails in June, so that's like a good 3 months.
Yeah. So because we quickly tackled them, see, we quickly draft out an email to tell them that we are, don't worry, your packages are still with us. We are not going to cancel anything.
Yeah.
Because we don't know on our end what will happen. So just wait for the government's approach or government's advice. So I think that is what they needed to hear.
Yes.
And then they went on with, I think, their own plans because some of them have to shift and change their wedding plans, right?
That's true. I think what you did was great then because you immediately emailed them and assured them that, yes, something bad has happened, which was the pandemic, but rest assured, you guys will brainstorm, get new ideas, and then we will figure it out together.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that was really good that you guys quickly emailed them.
Yep. Before the rush of their emails, we rushed email through first.
Yeah, that's true though. Then how did like the productivity level of your staff basically within these 2 years, ever since the start of COVID? Now we're just moving forward a bit. Let's talk a little bit about the productivity level of your entire company, the staff wise, because I'm pretty sure we went through so many phases. First it was circuit breaker, and after that it was phase 3, phase 2, and then phase 2 heightened alert. So within these 2 years, how was the productivity level for your company, for you and your staff? Maybe we start with Shira, because Shira, you started off alone before circuit breaker, right? And then after circuit breaker, you managed, to come out of the wind and managed to hire a few more people. So how was it like?
Actually, it's I think people were surprised that I decided to open a physical store because it was just after circuit breaker. So people were questioning me and asking me like, are you sure, is this even the right choice? But I can say business was really good at the point of time. So it's only until just a few months down the road, we were affected by supply shortage, price war from our manufacturing end. So it actually affected all our supplies, and that's when it affects everything, because when there's no goods, we cannot sell anything, and then we cannot pay our employees, right? So that's when things started to go down for us. Yeah, and it's only towards the heightened alert that it really worsened, because people started to be afraid to go to malls. They don't want to go to malls because actually before that, I was sharing my store with Noshinura. So we thought that, having more people vaccinated, people will feel safer. They want to go out, they want to shop. But it's just the other way around. And then right after that, because my shop is just beside Haja Maimuna, so just a few weeks after, there's a few COVID cases at Haja Maimuna. So people didn't want to go to Haja Maimuna. It's like Haja Maimuna is always packed, and our we are usually dependent on Haja Maimuna's crowd actually. So when there's no one at Haja Maimuna, there's no one at Nushinora, so no one to shop there. That's when my employees, they started to get worried, like what's going to happen, because they have access to the sales, right? So I say it's okay, because my staff at that point of time, my full-timer, she was handling social media and at the same time retail. So I say it's okay, you don't focus on retail first, just focus on social media. But I think because we were all too afraid of any uncertainties. We were just afraid that there's going to be another circuit breaker. So I decided, okay, it's okay. We just let go of the physical store. Yeah.
How did she not burn out though if she had to concentrate on like social media? Because curating social media is not easy. Like if you're, and you know, there's so many creative juices that is literally being
correct.
drained out. How was it like for her and for you as well? Because at the end of the day, it has to be approved by you. So
Yeah.
how was it like?
Okay, for social media, mainly she just take in instructions from me. So I can say I'm the brain of it lah. So she just like do simple posters and all that. For retail, she only covers maybe 2 to 3 days in a week. But for social media, she just like do the replies and all that, you know, just post some content, simple contents. But most of the time, she just take in instructions for me, because I wanted to make sure, my promise to her was that she's not going to get burned out, or she's not going to get too overwhelmed with everything, because I don't want her to be handling social media at the same time focusing on the retail. You know, it's very tough, it's very difficult, because you're going to get angsty customers every day and all that, you know. So I just told her one step at a time. For social media, it's just like on certain days, like it's not every day kind of thing. Yeah.
So your how do I say it? Your social media calendar was evenly spaced out, so that's
Correct.
how you guys didn't technically go crazy over curating content. Okay, got it. What about Letitia? What about you guys? How was the productivity level like within the past 2 years?
I think initially on our end, we had to actually figure out how we were going to make work from home happen in the first place, because a lot of our work is very physical. It's direct handling of children, and it's about curating lesson plans and having activities for children. So now we had a group of children in physical centers, and then we had a group of children who were stuck at home during circuit breaker, right? So we had two groups of children, and then we had parents who were still paying fees. So parents wanted to know how, whether they could, waive off fees and things like that, which obviously we couldn't, because that's our bread and butter as well, right? So what we were able to do was to start creating online lessons or online enrichment sessions for the children at home. And the children in the center would do the same ones, but physically. So when they do meet at some point, the kids still had, common things to talk about. So that was one. The other thing that, funnily enough, I think our staff were quite empowered. I think they wanted to also, because work from home was new, right? So, you could go on a Zoom session with like a fancy top and maybe, pajamas instead. Things like that. Or, you could Zoom from your room, and little things like that, I think were actually perks for staff, because in Singapore in general, being such a work-centric nation in many ways, work from home is so unheard of. And so when staff could work from home, I actually think it was a good breather for staff. There was no morning rush, no morning madness, no struggling to get to work, no crowd in the bus or the train or wherever, it was a lot more convenient in that sense. So I think interestingly, our productivity actually improved. And staff were able to, produce what they were meant to produce in a timely manner. And on management's end, or anybody who was overseeing anybody, just had to make sure that, whatever output is meant to take place does take place. However, we did notice that some staff were also having a little bit of difficulties. because, that's where we had to start taking note of their family backgrounds, having children at home. So we also had to adjust expectations or manage expectations and not, hothouse and pressurize our staff like, oh, deadline today means deadline today. So we never did that. And so we ensured that even during circuit breaker, we were even more flexible in what we expect from them. So I think quite a lot of them, I mean, even for me, I do enjoy working from home. I enjoy the fact that I can see my son come home from school, have a quick lunch together and then get back to work. But there are days where I'm just like, I think I need to be in the office instead, So yeah, I'm quite happy to say that our staff took it quite well in general.
I also like working from home. I would say that. I love working from home. I'm such a homebody. I love it. I think that's where this is where HR also comes to play in a very important role because they are already equipped with how to actually do like team checks, either within a department or individually with each staff. But because small businesses usually they rely on the one person, which is the founder or like the direct manager that is supervising them. So I think that's good that you guys did very well, even though there's like a few people that you guys did have to take more of a note, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a bit more attention. We had to pay a bit more attention to some of them. But in general, I think we didn't have much difficulties or issues with regards to productivity specifically.
I think it's fine too, like for companies to realize that if let's say your staff productivity level has gone down, like what you said, to also do some check-ins and see how the family background is like, because not every family is different, and it's fine within these 2 years if it goes up and goes down, because at the end of the day, with the different type of phases that we go through as a country, it also affects the workers as well, because one point of time it's whether I can go back to office, and if I can go back to office, then what happens to, let's say, my parents who I'm taking care of, or my kids who I'm taking care of. There are so many plans that has to to come into play, which also requires probably another week of planning. So I think like managers as well as the HR team can also take note on this. I won't say be slightly lenient, but be one bit more attentive, and also to be more compassionate in a way.
Yeah. A lot of people in our company are foodies. We love food.
Okay.
So one great way to ensure productivity was that we used to send each other bubble tea. Cakes, suddenly like some of my colleagues will send a photo of like, oh, who is this from? Those kind of little things, because I mean we're quite close knit in that sense, although it's many people, but we're quite close knit. So it was, now when I recall or when I go down that memory lane, there were a lot of funny moments and exciting moments to ensure that we were able to still keep in touch, and so that our staff still felt motivated to continue with their good work. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you so much. What about Kat and Yati? What did the wedding bouquet? How did you guys fare within these 2 years?
Okay, so about the productivity, right? Whether it has affected our productivity or morale.
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay.
Correct, yes.
So because we have dealt with the COVID firsthand, so naturally we just support each other. The thing is, the team is small. The best thing about our team is there's only 8 of us, and we are really tight-knit. We are a family. We are all mothers. So we were able to lift each other's spirit. We talk to each other, and we also talk. I also talk to other companies, other bridal companies, to see how they support their team and how they support their customers, so that we can put in place certain strategies, to cope with the team's morale. And and we take turns to handle customers and take turns to check on each other, just like what Letitia, is it? Yeah. So we do, and because sometimes customers will send us food and there'll be lots of it, and then what we do is we'll just call a lala move to divide the portion equally to each other and stuff like that. So in terms of productivity, we I am very blessed. I am very, very blessed because my team is really, we are all we work
Dedicated.
well, yeah, and dedicated. We work well together. We know that we have to deal with customers, and we know that at the end of the day, what matters most to all of us, and therefore we are, I would say, COVID or not, we are constantly productive. We try to manage, we go with the flow, and we are very adaptable to situation. I think maybe because we are mothers, so I think we just, you just wing it. You just adapt with the situation. There is really no way that we can control this situation, especially with the COVID status, right? With the cluster, there was really nothing we can do. This is all God's plan, and what we can do is we can only do to the best of our ability. So in our company, even though we are service oriented, right? We are not blindly just working for the customer. We always take note of our mental capacity. We always make sure that we don't get burnt out. We work within our ability. This is what I've always informed my team. And so that, we work around our ability and not to the customer's requirement. I mean, of course, sometimes we have to work extra hours because the customer requests us to be there or whatever. But at the end of the day, we have put in place proper timings for work, and then we all have our own duties, So, yeah, so we get we are not burnt out, so productivity is always good in a sense, in that sense.
Can I just check, what are your working hours like?
Okay, so we actually have two type of what do you call that, package. We have a mommy's package and we have a normal package for the team. So mommy's package, they work for 4 days. Okay, actually wedding brocade, before the European all decide in COVID, now we go 4 days work week. Wedding brocade has done that way before. So we were actually 4 days work week. We only work 6 hours per day in the past, from 2012 to 2019. So we work from 12 to 6, 3 to 9, 3 to 9, Monday to Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we don't work because most of us were mothers. I mean, we are mothers with young children and stuff like that. And I wanted a work-life balance. But because then I started hiring younger adults, graduates and all that. So they want to work more. They were saying that, Kat, it's too short and we have so many customers. We don't have time to work within these hours. So therefore, I started having a regular work week. Like our working schedule is 10 to 5, right, Yati?
9 to 5 on Mondays, Tuesdays.
5 Mondays, Tuesdays. And then Wednesday, Thursday are afternoons, 12 to 9. And then Fridays, it's 10 to 6 or 12 to 8. Yeah. And we have shift. So some of them will come in the morning shift and some will come in the afternoon shift. Mommy packages still stand. So some of them will still work 4 days while the others will continue to work
5 days.
normally. Yeah. Like for Yati, there are days that Yati come in later due to COVID. So she will answer emails at home, and then if she needs to meet customer, then she will come like probably later. But so I'm flexible in that sense. We are flexible in that sense because the burnout is real, you see, especially when you have to deal with customer face to face. We are face fronting service. So sometimes it gets very tiring when you have to, deal with people. So that is how we manage our productivity.
So that's good. Like you have different packages. You have package and then you got shifts somewhere. So it's like it's a good balance, especially since majority that's on board are basically mothers, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. What about Letitia? Letitia, how is the working hours like in Kawabanga?
So for HQ staff, it's 8:30 to 5:30. And then for our colleagues in the centers, they are, depending on school holidays, we have shifts because our center is open 7 to 7 during school holidays. So then there are shifts for that. But if not, if it's normal school term, then it's 10 to 7 for our colleagues in the centers. So it's basically just two timings, but during school holidays, the centers operate in different timings.
Okay, good. Because the kids are also coming over during the holidays as well.
Yes,
Because-
some of the kids come in very early, like 6:45, even before my teachers are there, the children are already there.
So excited. What about Shira? Shira, what
I
about
think
you?
the mummies, or maybe some of the mummies feel like I need a break,
Ah.
go.
Maybe. What about Shira? What about you?
Okay, so for retail is unavoidable. We have to follow the mall's timing. So it's opening hours is about 1 to 8. And then for other admin matters, it's all working from home. So actually until today, the only time that my staffs will be in the office is when we have to pack orders or we have to take pictures of products or when we have to do contents. Other than that, it's all from home. And I'm very flexible. Working from home is only 10 to 5. So let's say like in the midst of everything, they say, Shara, I think I need to go buy makan. I say, yeah, just go and buy, no issues with me. As long as the work for the day is done, then it's up to you, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
How frequent is that then when they come in?
I think once a week. Yeah.
Once a week.
At times,
So, and then
twice.
you just you just like sort of plan everything in that one day, like content and then the packing.
Yeah, correct. Because the only time that will happen is when we have the stocks, right? So most of the time, only when I know the stocks already in, then that's when I say, okay, guys, so can you come in on Tuesday? Maybe just spare some time, 11 to 4, and we'll do the content and all that. Yeah, do the packing and all that.
Maybe just give a brief looks into like how much. Okay, so how much stocks do you bring in, like let's say monthly? Because from there, some of the businesses can sort of like gauge like, oh, okay, if she's bringing in 200 worth of stocks, she can get it done. She can get the packing done and the content creation done within that one day in a week. But what if I want to bring in like 800 worth of stocks? So
yeah, okay, so for monthly we bring in about 2,000 to 3,000 stocks.
Well, that is way off from my gauge. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so it usually lasts for about 2 months about 2 months, and then for 1 week we pack about 100 orders in that 1 week. So 100 to 150. Usually when we just launched, that's the busiest period. So they will only come in once I've settled all the admin works, like payments, all the inquiries, and then because the only thing they have to do when they're in the office is to pack. So once they're done with that, if there's any other issues, then I will come in the next day. So they can just do their work from home after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, then maybe now we can actually, share and discuss on the main topic of what we want to share with the viewers today, which is, the plans or the activities or programs that you guys have actually inculcated into the company to help your staff stay mentally healthy. So for example, I think I've shared with you guys before that in AMP, what we did was we had company lunches over Zoom. And then soon after, it sort of just like went down to departments. So each department did go for lunches, company lunches over Zoom, because we were still, within Team A and Team B synergy. So what about you guys? What were some of the activities or plans that you guys did with or for your staff? Maybe we can start off with Kat. Kat and Yati.
So for us, actually, we also did lunch. We didn't do it over Zoom because the team is very small, right? So we go weekly, like we meet each other weekly. But again, we have 2 teams. So in the office, there are like 4 and 4 because there are 8 of us. So what we do is we catch up over lunch. The thing is about us, because we are a service customer service company, and we have to be present for fittings and all that. So we were allowed to be in the office to do work. We have no choice. So that's how we meet. We have lunch. We try to keep in touch with each other. We actually have a group WhatsApp because there's only 8 of us. So we check on each other via WhatsApp. We are glad that we get to actually sit down and have lunch with each other. And then recently, actually, I gave a pay raise to everyone because of COVID. And what I learned throughout circuit breaker, I did a lot of reading. because we had a lot of free time, right? So I did a lot of reading, and I this is what I realized, that the best thing to invest in is actually your people, the staff. So therefore, I thought, you know what, to just give to boost a bit of morale. And because we are limited, we can't do a lot of activity. So I thought maybe everyone should get a pay raise, because they work really, really hard. Because once circuit breaker ended, and then the rush of all the enquiries came back, because they needed to change their wedding dates. So there were weeks that we had to do 14 weddings
In August.
because there were a lot of overlapping. So with the existing brides, like probably that week we have about 5 brides, and then there'll be another 5 who wants the same date. And the fact that it's very hard for us to turn them down, because they need to fix with the photographer, the decorators, and we want to be a company that is flexible in that sense. So there were weeks that we had to do 10 brides and then 14 brides. I think 14 brides was the max. I had to do like, I think 3 brides that weekend. Yeah. So because of all that, then I mean, I'm very, very much involved with the weekend work, the makeup and stuff like that. So I realized that the team is definitely burnt out at that point of time. So yeah, so I give them a pay raise lah. And we do weekly meetings as well with the team, because there are different, even though we are small, we have different groups. We have the social media group, we have the designer group, and then we have the operations group. So we have open communication with everyone. We do weekly meetings, and then we did plan for a team building at Safra, but we have yet to do that. And we went for spin class together. That was what we did so far. That's all.
Wow, spin class.
Yati, anything else? I think that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was okay. So can I just double check? You did the pay raise before the 14 brides or after the 14 brides?
After lah, huh?
After, okay. You're just taking down some notes.
Yeah. So quite recent. When was the pay raise, Yati? Was it a few months back?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 months back. 2 months. 3 months.
Yeah, about 3 months back. Yeah, I decided that. Yeah, I think at the end of the day,
these are the only people that you can count on anyway. So
yes, these people are my family. They are my family, and I should invest in them.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's how I feel. So at the end of the day, that is how I can show my support and I can show my appreciation towards them. It's pay raise.
Well done. And 14 brides. Sorry, 14 brides.
Oh my God,
that 1 week. Oh,
phenomenal.
how did that even happen? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Amazing.
Should we move on to Letitia?
So for us in plans and activities, right? So what we did was to review some of our HR policies, because we have so many people in different segments of the company. So we have people in the staff, we have people in the centers, we have people at HQ, different departments, and it's impossible. Previously, we used to be able to meet at least 3 times a year in the whole organization. All 140 of us meet at one venue. We used to have this thing called circle time. So circle time was one kind of activity that we did twice a year at least. Physically, previously, pre-COVID, it was physical. So one of it, I recall one of our circle time theme was the 70s, I think, or the 60s or something like that. So we all came in neon colors and pearls and beads and funky makeup, blue eyes, all those kind of stuff. And it was more for bonding and also to get to know our colleagues across the board. So of course, when COVID happened, that was not possible for us to still do that. So we had to port over our circle time to Zoom. Good old Zoom. Hosted our circle times. So we started having, like you guys, we started having like team lunches or team events, and we started having things like different art activities or team bonding activities that we could do online. But we also realized that, sometimes on Zoom, when you have many people, you have like your super active ones, and then you have some who are really quiet, or they just don't know what to say, or they're not as participative as they would have been if they were in person maybe. So we realized that was something that was lacking, because the feedback that we'll get is usually from the ones who are very active, and they're like, oh, we had so much fun, and then some of them would just be like, okay, it was all right, not too bad. So what we did was to review some of our HR policies, and we implemented two other things apart from circle time. So we have Keep Fit Thursdays, where our teams work out together. So in the centers, or they go and take a walk, or they go for a hike, or they have Zumba in the centers, or even in the office. They had yoga, they had cardio, So what we did was we allowed them to pinpoint who was going to be their trainer for that month or that week. And so they would come in sports gear and just, have a good sweat out. And the other thing that we introduced was Friday. So once a month, every Friday, they start work much later. And in HQ, they end work earlier. So it was very well received by, I think, everybody, because like what Kat said, burnout is real, right? And we really can't underestimate it. And, we shouldn't assume that everybody is fine, or that, just because they're smiling and they're coming to work every day doesn't mean that they are, physically present in themselves, or that they are still as inspired or motivated. So when we had these little activities, we could see a better, I would say, commitment, towards the children. Our priority is the kids, right? So, like how they say, happy wife, happy life. I mean, may not necessarily be true, but, it's like happy teachers, happy kids. That is really true. If your teachers are happy, and if your teachers are contented, and they're in a good mental space, your kids are going to be well taken care of. So I completely agree with Kat. I think investing in your people is the most important thing, because they are the ones who are going to carry forth your vision and what you aim for the company to achieve. It's the people are the backbone, right? They are the core of the organization, the heartbeat of the organization. So when we were able to implement these things, our staff were, they took it really positively, and we could see a good leap in the way things were being done. So I think that's quite good. It was quite nice to see. I think you're mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to double check. When you meant like you started earlier and ended earlier, did that mean like those especially that has to take care of the kids started work early, later, or?
Yeah, so like on Fridays, for example, of course during school holidays it's not possible, but on normal months, normal school term, instead of 10 a.m. they start work at noon instead. And for our HQ staff, where normal working hours is 8:30 to 5:30, so on Fridays they end at 3:30.
Wow.
Yeah, so they can just go literally right into the weekend and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, because like we've seen like a lot of articles, right, that have been floating around, because teachers are the ones that are also mentally exhausted.
Yeah, it's really no joke for the teachers, because I must add that, just as how we adults have had to adapt with so many changes in such a short space of time, many forget that children also have had to adapt. And, we just assume that because they're kids, they're more resilient, and, they are fine. But we are very glad to have been, some of the frontliners for the student care centers, and we were able to see how children were also quite affected by it. And so that made us even more aware of, the mental well-being, not just of our staff, but also of the children, because, sometimes when there are big changes, actually kids are affected more. Can you imagine for a child, if I only see my mom in the evenings, everything's fine, but suddenly I'm seeing my mom the whole day, and oh, okay, my mom is scolding me a little bit more, or little things like that, right? And for example, wearing a mask. Kids have had to, suddenly adapt to wearing a mask the whole day. They can't really, talk or breathe properly. They can't play like how they used to play, like how we can't have lunch, like how we used to have lunch, But how often the kids don't meet on Zoom, right? They don't have Zoom lunches. So I must say that by implementing these things, our teachers and our staff were, they had sufficient rest time, or more rest time, I would say, more energy. And so the children received a much happier person in class. And so, yeah, I think in that sense, it worked out well both ways.
So that's true. Like I have like two baby cousins who didn't understand. That's the thing. Like they don't understand. Like, oh, why can't I go out and meet my friends or go to the playground, which is literally just like right beside the wall. It's so sad because they be like, why do I have to switch on Zoom? And I'm like, but you have a class. But they don't understand like how just how scary COVID was at that point of time. Like like just having to quickly go out because nobody is going to take care of him if I go to do grocery shopping alone, you see. So
Yeah.
I have to bring him along. Okay, we have to go home quickly. Oh, why are you rushing? Oh, we have to be we have to reach home as soon as we can.
Yeah.
It's really sad that the kids are also, they're also learning, but at the same time it feels like they kind of have to stop and then adjust and then relearn again.
Yeah, and they had to do it at quite a fast pace also. So we really had to, I mean, that period, even now, when there are changes and all that, we always have to make sure that, okay, our staff are in a good mental space, so that the children will be in a good mental space, and then it's like a collective effort, So yeah, I think overall it will be okay eventually.
Shira, what about you?
Okay, so just like Letitia and Kat, I brought my staffs for their monthly lunch, company lunch. So because we rarely meet, right? Because we are rarely in the office, so that's when I spend more time with them. Most of them are younger than me, or somewhere around my age, so it's easier to communicate. And we spend more time, not talking about work. So just sharing our thoughts and opinions of any current matters and all that. And also I let them work from home more because we are no longer operating retail, so they have more time to work from home, and actually even shorter hours. So it's more working days but shorter hours. And because we were actually planning for a trip out of Singapore, maybe like photo shoots and all that, just outside of Singapore, but the situation doesn't permit. So I brought them swimming at my office rooftop. Yeah, because all girls, right? So no issues, very easy. So we just spend more time together, just hang out and chill, just have our own leisure time. Yeah.
Swimming, okay, well, a lot of people are going for exercise. I see. Okay, let me just put it down there. Was there anything that you did initially that didn't work out though, Shira?
I think initially, I think not really, because most of my staff, they are comfortable with me. We are just like friends instead of like, they see me as an employer or anything like that, except for when asking for permissions and all that lah. But most of the time we're just like friends, so no issues when it comes to all that. Yeah.
What about Yati and Kat? Were there anything that you guys did but then didn't work out? Okay, like for me, right? For us at AMP, what I already mentioned before this, we did the company lunches, yes, but that was with the entire company. And then soon, HR saw that we couldn't like really sort of bond with over like 60 people on Zoom. So what we did was we did have like smaller company lunches between the departments.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah. So what was there anything that you guys did and then you guys had to sort of like improve from there, or?
I think what we did as a team, Yati and the girls would because they are the one facing the customers mostly. So if there were anything that they find like maybe certain measures are not suitable, they would feedback to me and then they will give me some suggestion. Yeah, right, Yati?
Yeah.
They will say, I think this works better for us. Like I said, again, invest in your team, right? So if they feel like it's not working for them, they will let me know, and then I'll understand. I will look through it, and then we will change our direction. But in terms of activities that we plan or what that didn't work or needed improvement, I don't think we have any for now, except for when we work, we try and manage, we try to adapt to the situation. Yeah, that's about it actually.
Yeah, no worries. What about you, Letitia?
I think maybe ours might have been similar to AMP as well. You know, where when we tried to do everything as a whole organization, because work hours vary a little bit, so it was not really possible to have everybody together. So what we needed to do was to then improvise by having online sessions in accordance to the different sectors and their work hours at that point. So we started doing it in smaller groups as opposed to the whole organization. Yeah.
Okay, then that's great. So far, everything that you guys have shared are actually pretty useful, especially like working within your boundaries, like what Kat has mentioned. I think that one we tend to sort of like we don't usually see the importance of it because you're working from home. So technically, it's supposed to be chilled and you are sort of more relaxed. So you tend to take in more work subconsciously. Yeah. So that's why I think, knowing like your boundaries, knowing like, okay, now is the time for you to stop working. It means you should really stop working because, even I am guilty of it. Like sometimes you just don't, you won't even realize the time. That's the thing. That's pretty good. Then, okay, let's talk a little bit about like the staff now, like how they can actually reach out to you guys, basically, the operations managers, the founders. How can like your staff reach out to you if let's say they do already feel burnt out, or they do feel the need to voice out that they are currently like struggling with the mental work per se. Shira, do you want to go first?
Okay, so for us, they will usually inform me directly because I'm the only, head in the
Supervisor.
company. Yeah, so most of the time they will just tell me like if there's any issues, like my staff recently, her mom was unwell, and then at the same time she was feeling very burnt out because she has so many things to manage, right? So I just told her it's okay, you can just take a break from work. I will not take it as a leave or MC or anything like that, even when she's unwell. I just say to her that it's time for her to rest, so you don't have to think about work. And something that I usually do is that whenever she have events or she's out from work, I will always remind her, because at times you don't realize, like I'll tell her like, hey Shah, can you look into this? But actually she's on leave or something like that, right? So I will always remind her, during your off days, can you actually block me out? Like block me, so you won't receive any notifications from me. Yeah, that's what I will usually do. So I just make sure that she have her own space, her own time, and yeah, usually they will just contact me directly. Yeah.
Well, block you out, huh?
Yeah, block. Yeah.
I will take that down. Block you out. I think then it's very important then for for what is it called, for the higher management to actually be very, I wouldn't say be very lenient, but be in a friendly manner, in a way that your staff can actually block you out on Instagram. That's for, even though
Yeah,
it's just for a day, block you out. Okay. What about Letitia?
So for us, so actually our company practices an inverted hierarchical method. So our hierarchy tree is actually this way. It's actually how do I put it, bottom down, so the so-called, the higher you climb, the lower you go on the hierarchical structure. So our teachers are right at the top. They are our frontliners and our our heartbeats of the organization. So actually we have multiple group chats in actual fact to ensure that our teachers or all our colleagues have direct access to myself, to me, to our directors as well. So they all have our contact numbers, they have our email addresses. I think they know our schedule better than we know our own schedules sometimes. So they know, how to find us, where to find us, how to get us. And because we do keep in touch with them very easily through meetings, in terms of we have previously I used to have little breakfast meetings with them where we literally just have coffee and bread or sandwich or something and just talk about life. So little things like that allowed them to reach out to us. Most of them just text us. So if they have anything, or if they're not sure, or if they need to take a break, of course there is HR where they can just apply for leave anytime, and all that. But if in the event it was something out of the ordinary, then yeah, they were more than welcome, still are more than welcome to approach any one of us at any time. So we have made ourselves in that sense quite easily contactable. Regardless, one of the things that we take pride in is we don't really pay attention to designations in the company. We don't really pay attention to who is what position and all that. I think first and foremost, it's important for all of us to be human first, and just be mindful of everybody's capabilities and what everybody can or cannot do for that matter. So yeah, we are all very much easily contactable, easily reachable. I don't think any of our colleagues have issues with that.
So does everybody know each other's schedule? If that's the case, do you know your schedule better?
I think me specifically, I think a lot of my colleagues know my schedule probably better than me. Because I oversee quite a big pool, right? So when they go on leave, I make sure it's in my calendar. I make sure that I know when my immediate colleagues are going on leave, especially. And if I were to go on leave, I think quite a number of people know that I am on leave.
Yeah, it's not something that is usual. It's not something that I hear that it's usual, because usually only probably the assistant would know you are on leave, let's say, not the other workers in the company. So that's something new.
Yeah, I think it's because we really maintain a very open and flat structure in that sense. At the end of the day, it's not about we really don't look into the whole hierarchy thing that seriously. Our directors are very hands-on, they're very on the ground. So am I, so are my colleagues, my center supervisors. So I think we prefer to be on the ground as well. It's more fun as compared to being desk bound.
That's true. Yeah. What about Kat and Yati?
So wait, how do I? Okay, so for us, just like what the teacher said, they have we all have each other's contact number. We usually keep in touch with each other. They can contact me personally. They can contact Yati personally. Sometimes when they don't go through me, they go through Yati, and Yati will talk to me and then we'll discuss. Like I said again, we are after all a family. We help family out. We help each other out. And then besides just annual leave, our company have family and childcare leave. So if they need to take leave for family and childcare, they can have that too. And like what I said earlier, we have the regular hours and the mommy hours. So we can actually switch if like for example Yati, she would want to switch to a mommy hour, she can do that too. And anything else, Yati, can you add? I think that's all, right? no overworking, we get enough rest.
Yeah, I guess the transparency, like what Letitia said, like if someone's on leave, because I mean Kat at the end of the day she's the boss, but she sometimes don't know, but it's on the calendar, so she has access to that to know who's on leave on which days.
Yep.
And yeah. So that's when she knows she won't disturb the staff.
Yeah. Sometimes I accidentally email or message them, and then I saw on the calendar, oh my God, you're on leave. Okay, bye.
Yeah. She says sorry. I'll just leave this down here, and then you just get back to me when you are back.
I don't contact them after working hours.
Yeah.
We all don't contact each other after working hours. I try to make sure of that. I don't. Unless I really have to, sometimes, because you remember something and then you don't want to forget it. So I'll just say, don't reply.
Yeah.
Just, I leave it here. We can talk about this tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I am so guilty of that also. It's like, oh my God. And then you feel like, should I text, should I not text? But I know I will forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will say that first. I will say, don't reply. Then I'll put the question. But sometimes they reply and say, okay, talk to me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think transparency at the end of the day is the most how do I say, is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that will help your staff, feel more comfortable in coming forward. And even though they want to do it, if let's say they want to do it anonymously, I think the best way also is to just leave a text. If you cannot say it face to face, leaving a text is always fine. And then from there, you guys can work it out and work through this struggle together, and then come out more, stronger and more victorious. Now we are left with the last two questions. For the last questions, maybe Kat and Yati can go first. As like the operations manager, as well as like the founder of a local business brand, and someone basically high up in the ranks, how do you take care of your own mental health? And like, is there anything that your staff can help you with? Maybe
Yati start first, Yati.
Yeah, for myself, I mean, like, because being in customer service line for so long, I guess the only thing always I have to stay positive. Yeah, so but in terms of mental health, I would just go for massages, for spa. And since I'm a mommy, right, sometimes I'll just put my kids away in my in-laws' place and just go a day of shopping and stuff like that. Like, I guess that is what keeps me going for mental health. Yeah.
What about you?
Go and help her first. Yeah, I think for me, what I do is I take breaks. Of course, I will go for a spa, or I go for lunch. Very basic, really just feel good stuff. Sometimes sleep, watch Netflix.
Yeah, sometimes the smallest
Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we don't want so many things in our life. We just want some peace and quiet, maybe a waffle, and then you watch Netflix and some bubble tea. It's good enough. So as long as we get regular breaks. So that as a company, like for all of us, we were just talking about it just now earlier, like how do we actually keep ourselves happy? We dress up to work. Because we are, after all, a fashion company, right? So all of us, we will all dress up to work, and then we will discuss fashion stuff. I think it's just natural. The whole team loves to dress up. And then we also love TikToks, and we will send each other, actually we will send each other TikTok videos, and then we're like, hey, we should do this as a company, we do together as a group, as a team, that kind of thing.
Shira is the queen of TikTok.
Actually, one of our girls is a queen of TikTok, not me, Yeah, but other than that, very simple pleasures lah. Very simple pleasures. That's it. Because now cannot travel, right?
Simple pleasures. Simple pleasures, TikTok. Okay, that means I should create a TikTok account lah.
Yes, you should. TikTok is fun. I didn't realize it until the TikTok queen in my office tell me to download. And you get more attention from TikTok because it's a totally different crowd.
What about you, Shira?
For me, same. I love TikTok so much. For me, I just spend more time for myself with my family members because I'm not married. And at this age, I think I tend to spend more time with my friends, my cousins, and all that. So it's just all those simple things. Nothing fancy, And I love cooking. I love to spend
Oh.
so much time in the kitchen, like at times my mother will ask me, macam, you're not tired, like cook rendang and all this, 4 or 5 hours kind of thing. But I say it's just something that I enjoy, something that doesn't involve work, although it's like a bit tedious lah to some people, but I just do whatever that I really, really love. Yeah. Can be like very simple things, don't have to spend so much money and all that. So yeah.
Ayam pencit is good, guys. Just like a shout out, her ayam pencit is good. I've eaten it before. What about you, Letitia?
I have to agree with everyone else. I think it's the simple things. I myself, I think at any point of time, if I just need a breather, my go-to is bubble tea. Just chewing on the pulse itself is like a yeah, it's like a exactly, right? And then just simple things like a day at the beach or catching a movie, Netflix, and just having that moment to yourself. Sometimes we have had situations whereby in the office everybody is riled up at the same time because maybe something is not going the way you want it to go or you need it to go, and then so everybody is a bit high strung, so we'll be like, okay, you know what, we're gonna on the music, we're gonna blast music, and we're all gonna have bubble tea, and we're gonna forget about this for a few minutes, and just like regroup and recharge ourselves. So it's really the simple things. I think in general, I'm not into any of the big stuff. At least I think I'm not. But the small things in life cheer me up very easily. But bubble tea is life. Can't deny that.
Good. Okay, now, we've talked about our staff, we've talked about the different activities, and then we've also, shared a thing or two about how to be more transparent and more compassionate in a way so that our staff can come to us if they are struggling. What is the one activity that you highly encourage future viewers to try out with their own staff? Like, what is the one thing that you would encourage? Because like in Singapore, the rise for exercising as well as art therapy increased during the pandemic. So what is the one thing that you would actually advise anybody?
To be honest, for us, every single time we get in touch with our colleagues or with our staff, the first thing we tell them is just go outdoors. One thing that the pandemic has done is to really sometimes coop us up, either out of fear or because of national guidelines and all that, but really going outdoors just works wonders. Just getting that breath of fresh air, just taking that walk. So we really encourage our staff. We get really excited when any of our colleagues send us photos of them at the beach on a off day, or maybe sometimes even on Keep Fit Fridays in the morning, Keep Fit Thursdays when they go take a walk, they will send us some pictures. So on our end, I would say go outdoors. Just go outdoors.
What about you, Ken and Yati?
For us, basically the same thing. We should spend time outside with family. Basically what Letitia have said also, go out with family, spend some time outdoors, because that is the only, take time off work lah, when you're not working, don't do work at all. That's what I always tell my team. Yeah.
Yati, what about you? Anything else?
Basically, that's about it. I think Kat has covered. Yeah.
Cheryl, would you like to go?
Okay, just like Letitia and Kat, same, go outdoors, enjoy the scenery, because even though you're working from home, I'm very sure it's very tiring and exhausting mentally. So it's time for you to go out, have some fresh air, enjoy, yeah, just chill and relax.
I think it's important for all of us to realize that as much as like the pandemic has actually cooked us into our, the four walls of our room or the living room or the dining room, it's also important to be active because like, studies have actually shown the more active you are, the more ideas you can come up with, the more productive you are because, they are just it will just help you with your work, with yourself, because when you feel good, you are able to actually do better. You're actually able to do good. So that's one thing that is important for everyone who's watching, to bear in mind. You can be, you can take a week off, it's fine, but at one point of time, you do have to get up and, just even go for a walk would do you good as well.
Yeah,
so
I think even if it's by yourself.
yeah, exactly. It's like your own me time then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I'm gonna put there me time. Okay, now before we end today's session, does anybody want to say anything else to the future viewers of the session?
Take it one day at a time. There's no need to overstress anything in particular. Like what Kat said, I think sometimes when life throws you lemons, you just make lemonade out of it, and you just make the best of all your situations. So I think, just stay positive and let each day come as it comes.
That's a good one. For everybody, I'm not, I don't want to stereotype, but like for me, myself, I'm such a kiasu person and I'm always rushing. So, to relate it back, I'm going to tell myself to take it slow, to pace myself, take it one day at a time. What about you, Shira? Any last words?
Yeah, just don't rush into things, at the end of the day, I believe that God is the best of all planners. So what you have to do is just you accept the situation, but you have to adapt to it. But don't rush into it, don't stress yourself. I'm very sure with all the efforts and all that, it will turn out into something fruitful. So just be patient and trust in God's plan. Yeah.
Okay, lastly, by Kat and Yati. Maybe Yati can go first.
Yeah, I guess with this pandemic, COVID or no COVID, I guess, like what Shira said, just take things slow and don't stress. Life just goes on. Yeah, just be positive, I guess.
Okay.
Yep, at the end of the day, our faith is written that we have to go with the flow. We have to be adaptable, we have to be flexible, we cannot stay at one place forever. We are human, we are ever changing. We must remember that we are all changing. Like sometimes, like today we like bubble tea, tomorrow we don't like bubble tea anymore. So we are constantly changing. So we must be able to accept that changes and don't be so hard on ourselves. Like probably today, like I said, besides the bubble tea, maybe today we like to work from home. Then probably in the future, like no, working from home doesn't work for me. I want to go back to the office. I am more effective there. No wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Or if you prefer to work from home, it works for you. You are more productive, then do it. We are always changing. We shouldn't be hard on ourselves. Don't rush. Yeah.
That's very good advice, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me for Insights, the sharing circle. I hope this is beneficial to not only the viewers, but also to you guys as well. We get to learn from one another. Other than that, we will provide all your what is it called, Instagram links. So for anybody who does want to ask more questions, they can actually just DM you on Instagram. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes, sure.
Sure,
okay,
no problem.
So if you're watching right now, I will insert the Instagram handles on the next slide. So other than that, thank you so much everyone and have a good night. Bye.
Bye.